I've never broken a bone.
I bought a battered old guitar, I was about 11, and sort of never put it down since.
I've never broken a bone, I must be invincible.
The thing that really got me into making music is probably just being around it all the time. And from there it just kind of developed. It's just something I kind of had to do. I moved down to Brighton 2 years ago and sort of went on a musician hunt. The moment when it clicked was when I hooked up with Cameron, my guitarist, and we started working on stuff together, and from there the arrangement certainly became a lot more interesting, and the songs really sort of started to come to life. So that's kind of the beginnings of where the first EP came from. We were sort of trying out lots of different styles, lots of different genres. I think that was the thing for that made the arrangement really interesting, was the variety of influence in that.
To care, a moment here, a moment there, then you're gone. But I'm still here.
I feel for the new EP, as a writer, I sort of found my own style a bit more, with the help from the band, of course. But for the first EP, I sat down and I went, I'm going to write this, and that's sort of how it came about. Whereas with the new EP, life nurtured it. I'd sit down and the pen would just move. So the first song off the EP, I've Never Broken a Bone, came about in quite an interesting way. I saw a guy walking down the street on crutches, and I thought, strange, I've never broken anything, so maybe because I haven't means I can't. And so that sort of got me thinking about this idea of if you can't get hurt physically, maybe you can't get hurt emotionally. I really wanted to incorporate that with a sort of tribal kind of drum sound. I really wanted to get that sort of raw, tribal feel to it.
Fortune is faint in the hearts of the crew.
Fortune was inspired by a Dresden Dolls song called Backstabber, and it had this one lyric which was, you have the right to sit and say that I abuse it when you only sleep with girls that say they like your music. I really wanted to write something that was a bit more in your face like that. So really what Fortune's about is this idea that to get anywhere you have to step all over everyone around you. What I did with that lyrical idea is I decided to stick it with something fairly up-tempo. It sort of escalated from there.
Lord knows I'm not perfect, but I judge you. Lord knows I'm not perfect, but at least I'm not cool. Yeah, at least I'm not cool. When I say we're perfect.
So The Moon and I is a narrative really. It's a story of beginning to end of a relationship. The protagonist at the end is sort of sitting there on his own looking at the moon going like, is that it? Is that all I get? This was the one that I really got to let loose on, really, give it some real power on, which I really enjoyed, because I don't get to do that on many songs. And the theme's really helpless love in that, that one person, no matter what they do to you, you still love them.
And I just can't explain. And I just can't explain. Go on back, we've come full circle, but there's a lack, you're indecision.
When I was young, which we finished the EP with, it was actually a really interesting one in terms of the writing and development of it, because it developed from this idea of, Jack and Jill fell down the hill. Why? Maybe Jill pushed Jack. That gave me a kick, and so from there I sort of built this song around that idea, and I sort of linked it all in with that idea of childhood, being young and that sort of innocence really. Some of the changes are a bit random, it's kind of a little all over the place, but in a way that I really think is me.
When I was young, I'd say I love you, so I want back my youth. But I really just want back you.
As a control freak, it was quite nice to be an important part of the mixing process. I went in and me and Toby just sat there and it really came to life. We got all the levels right, it just really started to jump out the speakers, and that was a few days ago, and it was probably, you know, one of the most exciting moments of my career so far.
I won't turn back to you, and I won't turn back the time, and I won't